Now, a couple of weeks ago, we did a video talking about, is Chaos losing the war? And one of the things that have come from that video, people asking, well, is the Imperium actually winning the war? Is it not another race that's actually dominating now in the Warhammer 40,000 lore? So today, what we're going to be doing, we're going to be jumping in and taking a look at the Imperium as a whole, with Rebooted Gilgameshs' return, with the forces of the Imperium marching once again into the stars. Are they actually winning the war against Chaos and also the war of dominance in the galaxy? Now, make no mistake, with the Great Rift, the Imperium is kind of in a bad state at this moment in time, but from the darkness, a beacon of light has risen, and that, of course, is the return of a Primarch, a loyalist Primarch, a son of the Imperium, Rebooted Gilgameshs. Some would argue that he is probably the best choice of a Primarch to return. The way he can organize, the way he can do his statesman stuff in this period where the Imperium is basically an entangled web of politics, betrayal, and just absolute madness. I think most of us would agree, myself included, that if Gilgameshs didn't return when the Great Rift happened, then the Imperium would have been doomed. It would have been on the blink of extinction. The forces of Chaos would have had their own way and consumed the Imperium of Man. But with his return, we now have a chance. I would argue we now have the greatest chance we've ever had to actually defeat Chaos and defeat the other races in the galaxy, and maybe once again have the ideals of the Imperium being the sole conquerors of this said galaxy. But that doesn't mean that the Imperium is guaranteed to win. We still have a lot of obstacles. Even though we mentioned about Chaos being in a bad way, they are not weak. They can strike from the shadows at any time and cause mass devastation. You've got races like the Necrons, where their technology outweighs anything that we, the Imperium, have at this time. Orcs are rampaging, growing in number, like we've never seen before, being united by one warlord, which, again, if that actually does happen and all the clans and everything comes together, the Orcs will probably be one of the most unstoppable, if not the most unstoppable force in the galaxy. So let's hope that doesn't happen, and let's not mention things like the Tyranids. We've only basically saw the fingertips of the Tyranids entering our galaxy. I am fearful what is yet to come with the main bulk of that force. Now, there's a couple of things for me that say that the Imperium is slowly winning this war in the galaxy. The first one being Belisarius' call and the introduction of not only the Primaris Marines, but the technology behind the Primaris Marines and other areas of the Imperium. What Call did with the introduction of the Primaris Marines is basically reinforce one of the greatest assets of the Imperium, the Adeptus Astartes. These are the elite soldiers, the elite bulk of weapons that the Imperium has to offer. Of course, we can stand here and we can argue to a blue in the face about the Imperial Guard and their vast numbers and what they do, but when it comes to it, it's the Adeptus Astartes that go in there and take on the toughest tasks. And the numbers that he's reintroduced to reinforce the Imperium are basically kind of astonishing. Like, we're talking hundreds of thousands of new Marines, better Marines, if you believe all the new lore about the Primaris, stronger, faster, can take a bigger beating. We haven't seen this type of reinforcement since the days of the Great Crusade, where the actual Imperium first set out to conquer the stars, and that's what they did. They set out and they were conquering system after system, planet after planet, just spreading the Imperial truth. And we know now from the Dawn of Fire series, which takes place, of course, when Gilgameshs is launching his new Indomitus Crusade, that this crusade matches and is probably bigger than the Great Crusade itself. If you can imagine the Great Crusade, all the legions that set off, all the guard units, all the Mechanicus, everything like that, and then you look at the Indomitus Crusade and think, wait, this is bigger than those fleets that set off, you have to think to yourself, the Imperium is about to explode on the galaxy in a way that hasn't been seen in a millennia, or millennias. And just to add on top of that, Call has reintroduced brand new technology. We have like grav technology now, you know, better marks of armor, more destructible weapons that he's been designing. One of the downfalls of the Imperium as man was its stagnation into not wanting to move forward. They basically got comfort on what they knew and stayed there. Evolution and, you know, advancing technology was frowned upon, especially by, you know, the AdMech and stuff like that. Call has come in and he's turned that all upside down on his head, and we're having these brand new weapons, brand new fighters, tanks, marks of armor, and I'm sure that's going to be going over, not over to the Adeptus Astartes itself, but I'm sure we're going to start seeing that with the Imperial Guard, the Mechanicus, the Sisters, maybe even the Custodes themselves. All this new technology aiding the Imperium in the new fight against the enemies of this galaxy. Now, the next thing why I think the Imperium is on the right track to winning this war in the galaxy is because they have a new asset. And I'm sure a lot of people are saying, well, of course, it's Rebooted Gilliman, it's a Primarch. We have a leader now to all unify behind and follow. And you're kind of on the right track about that. But Gilliman has come back, which I agree, I think it's a massive thing, but he's brought a weapon with him, which I think trumps any weapon in Call's arsenal. And that is the power of faith. People in the Imperium now believe for the first time that they have a chance to win, that they have a chance to overcome the darkness and survive. We've seen this now happen in the latest books dedicated to the setting that we're currently in. For example, the Plague Wars. We saw what the Faith could do. It destroyed vast legions of Nurgle's followers. You can argue that it's one of the reasons why Mortarion was banished back into the warp, or, you know, dragged back by Nurgle, however you want to see it. But that is what we have now. That is our greatest asset. It's greater than your chainsword, your power sword, your bolter, your lasgun, titan weapons, volcano cannons. It's greater than that. The power of faith is our weapon, and we can use it because we have a lot of people in the Imperium. That is, again, one of our greatest assets. The Imperium has billions, if not trillions of people. It's probably trillions of people. Of course it's trillions of people. Trillions and trillions of people, all believing in the Emperor as a divine being, seeing Gilliman himself as the son of a divine being, thus making him divine himself. Again, we've seen this in the books where Gilliman is kind of wielding the power of faith, and he's kind of torn against it because he's like, well, you know, I don't believe in the imperial, religious aspect. I believe in, you know, the imperial truth because, you know, lies and everything that goes along with it. So yeah, he's kind of in the middle of this, but it's actually working to aid him and also the Crusades that are now fighting against the Orcs, the Tyranids, Chaos, everything that they're coming across. I think the biggest hurdle the Imperium faces now is, of course, the Great Rift, because half of the Empire is kind of cut off from any type of reinforcement, any type of aid. That's not to say that there's not forces over that side. There's the Dark Angels, I think. No, is it the Dark Angels? Well, we definitely know the Blood Angels are over there because Dante was made Warden in the North over there. He is technically the King in the North, as I like to say. He is the ruler of the North, and he's doing as much as possible. Again, we know from the books that he's gathering as many fleets, as many troops, and much reinforcement to Baal itself and the moons of Baal itself, to try and have that as like a base of operations. It's kind of like the Terror away from Terror at the moment, with Dante kind of being the golden emperor of Baal, launching all his military operations from there. And we know that Call's been over there, provided him with brand new technology. He's got this massive angel star base, which looks apparently awesome in shapes of an angel. So yes, we know that they've got the reinforcements over there, and it's just not the southern bits that are facing, launching these crusades. It's also happening in the north areas as well. I think together the Imperium is being led properly once again. As I always stated, the High Lords, their main goal was power. More power means more options for them as individuals. They don't care if systems were lost, just as long as they had more power. With Gilliman coming back in, we know he removed a lot of the High Lords, changed it around. There was assassination attempts because of this and everything that went down with that. There's a lot of politics still going on, of course. There's a lot of people that are not happy with Gilliman's return, and again, that could be a massive thorn in his side later down the road. But for right now, I think the Imperium is kind of getting on that right track again to launch itself back into the stars, led by someone at the top and led by someone who actually knows what to do, how to achieve it, how to go about it, and how to conquer the enemies of the Imperium. And this is why I personally believe that the Imperium is currently winning the war, because it has a leader at the top. It has a unification in its armies that hasn't been seen in 10 millennia. That's enough waffling for me, Chaperoonios. Thank you for coming. Thank you for watching this video. Of course, this is just my opinion. You're like, hey, Valrak, no, you're wrong at everything you're saying. The Imperium are losing because I am a Tyranid player and I'm going to nom your face. You could be an orc and you're like, you've unified. I've got Gaskell over here, mate. Get ready to war because we're about to crump you. So yeah, if you've got any thoughts, feedback, if you disagree, agree, post it down below and we can have a nice little talk down there as we always do. Thank you for coming. Thank you for watching once again. Hopefully you're all having a great day. See you now and bye-bye.